Hey friends, I haven't let the full intro play in a long time. My name's Ciotti, everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. It is faffing about Friday. It is editing Friday. It's also all kinds of things Friday. 1 year ago today, Maggie and I adopted Teddy Spaghetti. So there's that. VCI 0802.8 and 0703 motors rail on 75mm rigs. Really impressive. The 0802.8s are much higher KV. What are they, 2800? No, oh wait, no. So the 0703s are 23,500. The 0802.8s are 27,000. They're both really good. The 080, basically 0803s, they blast. Big power. Really fun to fly this. First motor that has made a 75 have anywhere near the responsiveness of a 0702 65mm build. And then the 0703s are more similar to like all the other 75mm motors, but they're really good. The response time is better than most. The power is good. The runtime is good. But yeah, the 0803s are bananas. We're going to take a look at some flight footage in a little bit. With maybe a little bit of voiceover from the microphone built into the HDZero. Also, I've been trying to figure out, speaking of, I've been trying to figure out the microphone in the HDZero goggles. I'm trying to hook up an external microphone. I bought these little guys from Amazon, but when I turn on line in the menu and I plug those mics in, they sound horrifyingly bad. Like the internal mic is way better. So that's super weird. I think maybe I have a setting wrong. I did a quick recording a minute ago with a different mic, a lav mic that I have from ages ago. That's what I just put on. Let's see if this is any better. Way better.
This is this lav mic.
Way better.
Plugged in the lav mic without it powered, and I powered up. This is the lav mic now powered up. I wonder if there's any difference. Powered up, and then I'll hear it come powered down, powered down. Any difference? And I'm going to unplug it. That's with the lav mic.
So that's not using the lav mic. Okay, so in the menu, that explains something. In the menu, you have to turn on line in order for the mic to work. That's good to know. So what that means is that this little mic is bad. If you have HDZero goggles, don't buy this little mic from Amazon. It is, yeah, not good. VizGiz, don't buy this one. VizGiz. I'll pull up the Amazon listing in a minute here. Although it does say on here, if not work, please use 4-pole to 3-pole mic adapter. So they do give you this little adapter piece, which has 2 black stripes on it. These little guys have 3 black stripes on them. These are 4 poles. This is 3 poles. When I look at this lavalier mic, it is also a 4-pole. I have another microphone in here. What is this? Why do I have so many mics? Oh, I have another lav mic that's a 3-pole. Between one of these, something's got to work. One of these has to work. I'm going to keep farting around with this, and I'll have an answer for you in a minute. So I need to go into the HDZero menu, and I need to turn it to line in. That's where I had it originally, but then there was so much noise with that microphone that I assumed that I'd set that wrong, but nope, that was correct. So yeah, all right. You have to power on a quad in order for it to, in order for the DVR to record. Well, although hold on. I don't want the DVR to record yet. I want to change the internal mic. Actually works pretty good. So hang on. Let me just set this to line in, and then we can super quick. So you go down in the menu to record options, and then there's an audio source field, and I got to change that from mic, which is the internal mic, to line in, which makes sense. The other option is AV in. That does not work. I tried that. So we're now on line in, and I don't know why I just turned them off. That was silly. Turning them back on, give them a minute to boot up, and then once they boot up, I'm going to power the quad on. I'm going to plug this little shitbird in. I'm going to put it onto the little 4 to 3-pole adapter, and then I'm going to try the one lav mic and the other lav mic, and then we'll really quickly have an answer to this. So there's the quad powering up. It's now set to line in. There we go. And oh, you know what's happening? In the audio, it records a little bit of the video noise, and this quad is set to low power VTX until first arm, so it's in pit mode at like 1 million watts. And so it ain't gonna, it's gonna potentially record all that garbage. That happens when you use the mic setting and the internal mic. You get a whole bunch of garbage and noise and whatnot in there. The farther away, the more video noise that there is. I was hoping that using the line in would fix that. Okay, so the VTX is now on 25 million watts. It's still on line in, so let's take... actually, let's unplug it, get it to stop recording, and then, there we go. We'll get it to record again. I'll arm it real quick to get it out of pit mode. Okay, it's recording, arming. All right, it's out of pit mode. Great, no mic plugged in. Plugging a mic in. This is the junky little mic. Check, check, check. Unplugging this using the 3-pole to 4-pole adapter thing. Last time I did this, it didn't record anything at all. There's the 3-pole to 4-pole thing. Check, check, check. Unplug that. This is a 3-pole non-powered mic. Plugging that in. This is the 3-pole non-powered lavalier mic. Unplugging. This is the powered lavalier mic. All right, this is now the powered lavalier mic, not powered. Flipping the switch. Now it is powered. Checking, checking, check, check, check. There we go. That's all we need to do. Unplugging the quad, and there's the beep. It has stopped recording. Powering down. In case you were wondering what I do like during the day when I'm not live streaming, welcome. A lot of this kind of stuff, just testing and checking stuff, and yeah, trying to figure out the best sort of setup for a lot of these things. In kind of annoying news, my X12 Happy Model AIO, channel number 3, the left rear channel, ESC channel, is for sure on its way out, which is very annoying. What's really funny about that is that I just tore it down. It had the iGao 0802 27,000 kV motors on it, and I was flying it yesterday, the day before, excuse me, and motor number 3 started twitching. And I took a look, and the motor on one of these iGao motors, the shaft and the bell were not happy together. They were starting to slip. And so I pulled that motor off, this motor here, and Loctite 638'd the shaft to the bell. And then I looked it up. CMYK had asked me a while ago when I did this what kind of cure times I was using. And I was like, I don't know, 24 hours seems fine. I looked it up on their website. They actually want 3 days to let it cure. So I'm doing that this time. But yeah, not only was that motor shaft slipping, but that channel on the AIO appears to be dying, which is super annoying, but you know, this is AIO life, my friends. So I think I will. This is the second X12. And for all we know, I could have heard it during the motor testing. I was asking a lot of that AIO, right? Like I was just hammering the hell out of it. So you never know. It could have been me breaking it. That X12 AIO has been flown outside a lot, and so it's taken a good amount of abuse. It is the second X12, though. I'd gotten a Mobula 7 1S ELRS with the X12, and it blew up within like 10 batteries. Eventually, I got another one, and this one has lasted quite a few batteries, but it's on its way out. It's looking like the X12 is not as durable as the 2G4s, but the X12 is sort of supposedly 2S capable. It kind of creeps me out, but they say that it'll take 2S. It does have higher amperage FETs on it. It's got either 11 or 12 amp FETs on it, and in some of the motor testing that we did, we saw significantly higher RPM and power output from the bigger motors with the 1.6 inch prop on the X12. That is a loaded scenario where I'm holding onto the rig in the air when there's incoming right? When the quad is moving through the air, and that makes its job the motor's job a lot easier. You'd probably be okay with a 2G4. But yeah, now that we're getting more and more and more powerful motors, the X12 AIO does become more interesting. Hey, we're also going to talk about Chris Rosser's Tiny Whoop motor testing video that just came out today. We've been having a gigantic discussion over on the Discord in General Nonsense about it. So definitely head over there and get caught up a little bit. I put some of my raw, sort of off-the-cuff thoughts. I'm going to be a little bit kinder here on the live stream. But yeah, I don't know. The bench testing is great. I love the data that we get from bench testing. Chris does a wonderful job. Unfortunately, I wish that Chris would talk more about what happens in real life, because what happens in real life is, especially with these little motors, drastically different than what happens on the bench. Unless you fly, unless when you go out to fly, you get all your shit ready, you get your goggles on, you know, arm it up, and then you put your finger on top of the quad, or no, what you have your buddy. So for bench testing to be 100% real, here's what has to happen. You go out, you get armed, you get everything ready, and then you have to fly with a buddy. And then when you're ready to arm the quad, you go, all right, Jerry, all right, do it now. And Jerry walks over, and he goes like this. And then you arm it, and then you start flying, and you start flying, and you're flying, and you're flying, but Jerry is just sitting there like this, and you're flying, and you're not going anywhere. It's weird. You're not going anywhere, because Jerry has his fucking finger on top of it. This is not how we fly. We fly like this, and then what happens is when we use the throttle, it goes. So always remember that the bench testing is not representative of what happens in the real world. In the real world, when this starts moving, it is no longer having to pull static air in. It is getting air fed to it. And the faster it goes, the faster the incoming air is. If you want to simulate this and prove it to yourself, because you don't think that changes things, fire this thing up in the motors tab with props on, fire one motor up to 100%, and listen to the RPM that it turns. And then go like this. And you will hear it go and gain RPM as you feed the propeller air, because you're lessening the amount of work that the motor has to do because you're feeding it air. And that's what happens when this thing moves through the sky, when it is not tethered down to a bench. And so, yeah, all quads deal with this. This is a real thing with all quads, but with Tiny Whoops, it is extremely important. And like a month or two ago, Chris reached out to me and said that he was going to be doing the Tiny Whoop motor testing. And we tried to connect for a call a couple of times and we couldn't get it scheduled. So I just said to hell with it. And I spent an hour or two just typing out a massive wall of text for him with like months and months, if not years, of stuff that I've learned and tested and that we've learned together here. And I guess maybe those messages got lost in his other messages because he never got back to me. And in his video today, he didn't seem to call any information to any of that stuff. So yeah, it is what it is. I know he's super, super, super busy. And my messages could very easily have gotten buried. That happens to me. I won't say all the time, but it happens every once in a while. One of you guys will message me on a super busy day when there's a whole bunch of other people messaging me, and yours will get pushed off the bottom, and I just sometimes don't scroll down to the bottom to see the unread message. So yeah, I guess maybe that's what happened. But yeah, part 2 of his Tiny Whoop 65mm motor testing should be really good. Kevin Sumner and Jesse Perkins, Kevin Sumner, and as well as Jesse Perkins from Tiny Whoop. Kevin's not with Tiny Whoop. I don't want to rip those two together. Are sending Chris a lot of the current motors that people are actually running. The majority of the motors that Chris tested are kind of like older motors that I haven't really seen anybody running in a couple of years. There's a couple more current motors on there, but they're motors that nobody's really running because they're so inefficient. Basically, the RCinpower motors. The RCinpower 0702 and 0703s make great power, but they're incredibly inefficient. And so I don't really know of anybody that's still running them. Everybody kind of runs the Happy Model motors. Boy, oh boy, did Chris's video show how efficient the Happy Model motors are. Holy cow. There are a couple really good things to come out of his motor testing. He really should change the title of his video, though, to Best Motors for 75 millimeter whoops. Like 80% of the motors that he tested really only make sense from a stator size and from a KV perspective on 75 millimeter rigs. Unfortunately, they're all 1 millimeter motor shaft, but most motors are. So like there's only a couple of 1.5 millimeter motor shaft motors that exist at the moment that make sense for 75 mil rigs. And I'll be honest, man, I have crashed these VCI 1 mil motor shaft motors a bunch, and they're holding up pretty okay. They're definitely starting to get bent up, but they're holding up better than I thought. So yeah, there might be something to the thought of Happy Model's motor shaft being a lower grade of metal that's not as strong as some of the other manufacturers. That might be total BS. It might be true. But yeah, great data in Chris's testing for 75 millimeter rigs. Unfortunately, he tested on 1.2 inch propellers, which are for 65 millimeter tiny whoops, but he did test a tri-blade. And so I can actually check my spreadsheet. Hey, by the way, I put the link to the spreadsheet that we've been working on for the past couple of live streams over in the Tiny Whoop and Toothpick text channel on Discord. That is a Patreon-only text channel, but 10 cents a day to help me keep doing this is going to help you learn more and not waste money, so it'll pay for itself, I promise. CiottiFPV.com is the website you can go to get my Patreon link, and yeah, sign up. You get full access to the Discord, bunch of technical articles on Patreon, 2 different Facebook groups, YouTube playlist with like 80-90 videos that are unreleased, sketchy flying, half-done edits, Patreon-only live streams, all kinds of good stuff. $3 a month, yo, it's 10 cents a day. Help a brother out. Let me keep doing this full-time. Let me test more stuff so that you can get the good stuff instead of trash that either sucks or just catches on fire and burns your house down and kills your whole family. Whole bunch of other cool stuff over on CiottiFPV.com. A bunch of affiliate links, an Etsy store. The Etsy store is about to get a shitload of new items added to it. Bunch of new stickers, bunch of like random hardware and stuff that I have floating around that deserves to be used rather than just collecting literal dust in a box. In the chat, Crom was first, Notice was next, Kevin Sumner, Rock Crawler, Slow Cal, Timmons, JP Spin, Northern Tier, Scotty Scott, Douglas Otwell, Timmons, Doubles FPV, Zoe 101, LOL the Kidson. If you want the gangly man to say your name, come in early, say hi. Or you can just at me, type at CiottiFPV, it'll light up an orange for me. You can do that with each other. If you type somebody's name and you spell it right, for that person, their name will light up an orange. It's a good way to get somebody's attention. You can also do a super chat if you want to support me while getting me to read your message. Notice tagged me and said, noticed in your last couple of Drift Chases videos, you're standing by the window on the other side of the room. Was the move a calculated thing or happenstance? It's because the big 4 TV monitors on the wall are all broken now. So there's no reason. The reason I was standing in the corner previously is that's where the HDMI cable is that feeds into their PC that then outputs to those TV screens. Now that those TV screens are all broken, it doesn't matter where I stand. So I've been standing with the drivers and talking shit and laughing and screaming. Good question, brother. Timmons says, after watching the last couple streams, those VCIs on the 2G4 getting the FETs hot, is that what was making the core tap warnings pop up while flying, do you think? Ooh, good call. I hadn't thought about that. So, what VCI motors were those? Those were... Oh man, yeah. I did figure that out, but hold on. Were those the Do me a favor, Timmons. Copy and paste that comment and tell me which motors those were. I forget. I forget which VCI motors were causing those core temp warnings. It sounds like you might remember, though. And then I'll be able to talk to it, because I have rerun a whole bunch of different VCI motors. I feel like it was the 0802 .8s, and I feel like it was a filtering problem. But let me know. Let me know which motors it was, and maybe even which rig it was on. Was it on the analog rig or the Walksnail rig? I hope you remember. If you don't, we'll figure it out. Kevin Sumner says, I have a mic like that, the one Limon recommended, and it works, and I think it works fine. Cool. Hey, we can take a quick look / listen. Movies and transport stream. All right, here we go. So this is the last test with the input set correctly with 4 different mics that we tested. Ready, go. Come on. Whoa. So when I go to line in, why do I have so much noise on line in? Yeah, see, something's... I feel like something might be going on with my goggles. Because, like, yeah, that's just on line in, and it's just impossibly noisy. But the mic is obviously working. Like, we can hear the mic working, you know what I mean?
Lavalier mic. Alright, this is now the powered lavalier mic.
Powered lav mic.
Flipping the switch.
So it wants the lavalier mic to be powered. Oh! What's that now? Oh, that's the end of the file. Yeah, so my HDZero goggles don't work with a mic plugged in. They have that horrible amount of static. So I have to just use the internal mic. That's kind of annoying. That's me trying 4 different mics, and they're all a mess. The nice lav mic with the with a powered option is definitely the best, but still sounds terrible. Still sounds way worse than the internal mic setup. Yeah, wow, that's super weird. But the internal mic in the goggles is pretty good. So I'm gonna switch this back to the internal mic because it does work. What's happening here? This thing is locked up. Yeah, okay. Goggles no worky. Just try turning it off and on again. First thing I always try, friends. Wow, yeah, that stinks. I was really looking forward to using like a lav mic and being able to talk really cleanly into the DVR. All right, here we go. Now the goggles are working. Into the menu. Although, like I said, the internal mic is pretty damn good. Okay, cool. These are set back to the internal mic. Man, I've made a little mess over here. That's okay though. We shall live. So on this card, let's dive into the VCI motors first and take a look at some flying there, and then we're gonna dive into the drift car shit. Timon says, I think Betafpv still has some X12s in stock. Awesome, thank you, dude. Elias says, have you seen Chris Ross's tiny whoop motor test? We already talked about it. I'm actually probably going to pull that up. There's some other really good points in there, like how absolutely all over the place the KV stuff is, which I saw in my testing as well. So that's great. And yeah, I think we're just going to take... Let's actually do that now. Let's dive into Chris's video right now. And there's a couple of really, really good things in there. So, all right. The majority of the good stuff is in these graphs. So this is the measured KV and the rated KV. The actual KV is in blue. The stamped on the motor bell KV is in red. And there are like 2 or 3 motors here where those two numbers are somewhat close together. This is a goddamn nightmare. Look at this. Look at the discrepancy between these two. 16,000, it's actually spinning like 22,000. 17,000, it's actually turning 25,000. I'm sorry, other way around. It's rated 25,000, it's only turning 16 or 17. Look at this shit show. Rated 28,000, only turning 22,000. This is brutal. But we've seen this. So the KV that's stamped on these motors doesn't really mean that much. It's going to get you somewhat in the ballpark, but the actual KV is always going to be not always significantly lower, but potentially significantly lower. The T-Motor 802 25,000 is the absolute worst offender. This is brutal. It's marked 25,000 and sold as a 25,000 kV motor, but it only turns 16,000, maybe 17,000. That's awful. Awful. So yeah, this is great that there's so much discrepancy here, because I saw a ton of discrepancy in this stuff here, right? So 29,000 kV. So this column here is the measured kV. So 29, so I'm just going to go one to the other, right? So 29, it was actually 28. 29, it was actually 28. 28 and a half, it was actually only 25.5. 30, it was only 27. 32, it was only 28. 32.5, it was only 28. 34, it was only 29. 36, it was only 30. 40, it was only turning 35, although that's pretty close. 30, it was turning 28. 19, 16, 23 versus 20, 25 versus 22, 27 versus 26. That's pretty close. Happy Model 802, 27,000, the IGAO motor. That's pretty close. Turns 26 for real. It's marked 27. Although, actually, look at the Happy Model 30,000. It actually, it got it right. One motor is right in my testing. And then the 33 turned 30. The 32.5 turned 20. I'm sorry, 23.5 turned 23. That's pretty good. The VCI 0703 is pretty dialed. The VCI 802 is also pretty dialed. It's marked 27. It turned 27.5. Now we're talking. Turn more RPM, you bastards. RCinpower 22 only made 19. Betafpv 1102 22 only did 21. Again, the link to this is over on the Tiny Whoop and Toothpick Discord channel. So yeah, really glad to see these gigantic discrepancies in KV, because I thought that my testing methodology was like broken. And so yeah, Chris talks a whole bunch about that. He talks about how hard it was to actually test the amount of thrust that these things make, because they don't make a whole lot of thrust. These charts here, unfortunately, I don't do me any good, because all of these different colors are so close to one another that you can't tell what anything is. So these don't really have any value. Luckily, he also put it in a bar chart, bar graph here. So yeah, the stars of the show in terms of thrust are the RCinpower 703, 802, 702, which is great. It's great that those RCinpower motors make a good amount of power, but here's the problem, is the efficiency. The least efficient motors are the RCinpower 703, 702, and here's the 802. The T-Motor 803 is also a mass newbie drone. 802 25 is also down pretty low. But yeah, all of those RCinpower motors that make really good power are also at the absolute bottom of the efficiency. If you look towards the middle of the efficiency, you've got like everybody else, and then you look up at the top of the efficiency, you've got Happy Model, Happy Model, Happy Model, Happy Model, Happy Model. We know this. We've been talking about this forever. Happy Model motors are extremely efficient. This Tiny Whoop 802 is only 17,500 kV, which is why it's so efficient. A low kV, low power motor is of course going to be efficient because it doesn't make shit for power. Motors that make good power that are also efficient, those are the ones that you're kind of looking for. And so, yeah, it's great that these RCinpower motors make a ton of power, but for them to be so inefficient for most people is going to be a deal breaker. I'm really tempted to try these 0702s and these 0703s, but man, like, everybody that's tested them that I trust is like, yeah, they're really inefficient, like really, really inefficient. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's we don't need that much extra power. The Happy Model motors, this next round of testing that Chris is going to hopefully do will have the higher kV Happy Model motors that make, I think, as much, if not more, power than these RCinpowers, and they're efficient. And so, yeah, I'm probably not going to spend $100 on super inefficient RCinpower motors just to say, hey guys, they make great power, but they're super inefficient, because we have that right here. So yeah, I think that kind of speaks for itself. So yeah, the efficiency charts were great. The motor response mimics the thrust production chart for the most part. The Happy Model motors are all pretty much sort of in the middle here, although they're actually towards the bottom. But again, these are very low kV Happy Model motors. These really don't represent Happy Model motors all that well, because they're just not a high enough kV. The one high kV motor that there is, though, Happy Model 702 28,000 here, it is like smack in the middle. So as the and when you look at, you know, so this is testing the response time, basically. And so the Happy Model 702 28,000 kV is right smack in the middle. The 26,000 kV is down a little bit. The 23,000 kV is down a little bit. So as we get up into the 30,000, the 32,000, the 32,500, the 36,000, the 40,000, the Happy Model motors are just going to keep rising on this chart. And at the same time, they're going to be way more efficient than the motors that are up on top of this chart. That is the magic of the Happy Model motors. This is one of the things that I told Chris in the massive wall of text that I sent him that I guess he didn't read. Again, here's the efficiency, which really shows how efficient the Happy Model motors are, and all the other high-power motors are not. And then the max thrust data, again, we can see the highest... where's the Happy Model? There it is. Happy Model 0702 28,000 kV. It's right in the middle. So the 30,000 kV will be here. The 32,000 kV will be here. The 36,000 will be here. The 40,000 will be all the way on top, I'm sure. So yeah. And then the last thing that Chris did, which is super important, because thrust production is only a part of the story when it comes to tiny whoops, is the weight of the motors. He did weight normalize the motors here. I wish that his... I don't think that... I don't think that he weighted the weight issue high enough. The weight of the motor is super important. And in my opinion, he did not give the weight of the motor enough oomph in this chart for the lighter weight motors to really rise to the top. I'm thrilled that he added it in, and it's great that he added it in. And if you look, you know, these RCinpower motors, they dominated, and they ended up on top because you've got thrust and motor responsiveness both adding to the like, yeah, that's 50% of what's going into this rating system, right? And those motors are somewhat lightweight. So 3 of the 4 things are why those motors have risen to the top. The efficiency dings them pretty good, and it's actually pretty impressive that they stayed on top even with how awful their efficiency is. But still, I don't think that these are the best motors, because the efficiency thing is a problem. But the fact that the top 2 motors are RCinpower 702s, which are lightweight and do make good power, is awesome. So if somebody just watches this video and they get either one of those two motors, the 27 or the 29,000, they're going to have a motor that performs well, and the rig is not going to be super fat, and that's going to be a tiny whoop that flies awesome. Yes, they're going to rip through batteries, and they're going to have like 2 minute, probably 2.5 minute run times, and that kind of sucks, but a rig that flies good, that just chews through batteries, is way better than a rig that flies like ass, and you get to fly it for 5 minutes per battery. Why would you want to fly something horrible for longer, right? Fly something good, buy more batteries, or fly something good for less time, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm super happy that these two motors won. But yeah, I mean, the fact that the Happy Model 702 28,000 is like sort of towards the middle, that's kind of a crime, if you ask me, because that is a phenomenal motor. I wish that there was the high KV Betafpv 0702 on here. I wish that there were a lot more high KV motors on here. There is a massive gap in this testing that hopefully part 2 will take care of. And I think if he does a part 2, I think everything on this will get everything on this chart will get mashed down a little bit, and we'll have a whole bunch of our current motors that like everybody is actually running in 2024 up on the top. But you know, Chris is awesome. His test methodology, his test rig, a lot of the stuff is great. There's just, you know, with tiny whoops, these are the least efficient quads because they have the smallest propellers. The bigger the propeller gets, the more efficient it naturally becomes. So with tiny whoops, we're in a very unique situation where our propellers are extremely inefficient, and so that makes everything more difficult. That makes making good power but also getting efficiency very difficult. That makes keeping the all-up weight of the rig in control a pain in the ass. It makes getting decent run times a pain in the ass. So we, over the last couple of years, have had to really optimize the shit out of the motors and the KV. And the situation that we've found ourselves in at this point, is this propeller broken? Wow, man. I don't call these YOLO props for nothing. Look where this HQ ultralight prop failed. Yeah, our situation is very unique. And what we've had to do is like over KV these motors so that we can take a lighter weight motor and still make half decent power with it. So that the all-up weight of the rig doesn't go completely insane. Look where this HQ prop broke. Have you ever seen that before? I have not. I was wondering why all of a sudden, after a grass crash, this thing started vibrating all over the place. That's a new one for me, man. Jeez. YOLO indeed. They only live once. So, yeah. Hopefully in the part 2 video, maybe Chris will have read all this info that I sent him, and he will dive into some of that stuff because, yeah, on a loaded thrust stand, that is not the full story. That is a part of the story. It's a part of the story that we can learn from, but, yeah, it's only part of the tale. And if you're gonna, you know, in my opinion, if you're gonna like make recommendations for what things people should buy, you at least want to like mention that, like, hey, you know, some of the motors that, well, you know, we'll get to see it in the next video. We'll get to see it when he tests 32,000, 36,000, 40,000 kV motors, because what we might see on a loaded thrust stand is that those motors won't spin up all that much higher than the 28,000s, than the 29,000s. We saw this in the testing that I'm doing, right? The Happy Model 0702, where is it? There it is. From the 0702 30,000 all the way up to 36,000 on a loaded thrust stand. they didn't turn any extra RPM. And I will say this: I really hope that the part 2 of this isn't Chris saying, "Hey, look, I did this testing, and these motors don't turn any extra RPM, so definitely don't buy them. They don't make more power." Like, I will be heartbroken if that's what the next part 2 of the video is. I don't know how he's gonna. I don't know how he's gonna deal with that, because I think that his. Look, the testing that I did doesn't have any actual thrust, but it has RPM, and if the motors can't spin a higher RPM with the prop on, with me holding it, they're also not going to be able to do that on Chris's thrust stand. So I don't know how he's going to handle that. I really don't. But we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out. I really hope that he does a part 2 to this. I hope I'm not coming off too negative. I'm super appreciative that Tiny Whoop Motors got any attention from anyone doing actual testing. My aim is not to be negative about Chris's testing at all. My aim is to make sure that you guys get the full sort of picture here, and understand what, thrust stands are not what happens in the real world, and this selection of motors is kind of old school. And I don't really know many people that run any of these motors. I don't know any pilots who fly a lot, have tested a bunch of stuff, and are like really solid pilots that run any of these motors other than the Happy Model 0702 28,000s, which did okay. I am very curious about the RCinpower motors, but Jesus, those efficiency numbers that they pull are just abysmal. But I am curious. I'm super curious about the 0702 29,000 kV RCinpower motors. So much so that I have 2 tabs. I have 2 different tabs open for the 20. What are the 703s weigh 1.9 grams? What do the 702s weigh? 1.58. What are the Happy Model 0702s weigh? There's like 10,000 Happy Model 702s in this basement, and yet I don't have a single one that I can throw on the scale. What the hell is happening? Hold on. Here we go. The Happy Model 702s are, I think they're pretty light, right? Yeah, they're very light. 1.45. So, just as I suspected, the RCinpower motors are not that much heavier. 1.45 grams on my scale. The RCinpowers are 1.59. Call it 1.6 on Jesse's really fancy scale. So 1.45 versus 1.6. That's not nothing. That is not nothing. What's that? Oh no, that's a bit. Hold on. Once you multiply that by 4, though, that's 0.6 of a gram. No. I'm not going to add 0.6 of a gram to my all-up weight for motors that probably don't make more power than the Happy Model 36,000s or 32,000s and are significantly less efficient. Sorry, fellas. As much as I would love to kind of test these, no, it's not worth. It's not worth 48 of your guys' dollars. It really isn't. I'll buy something else that's more realistic. Because look, if I get these and test them, the end of the test is not going to be, hey, these are awesome, you guys should buy them. I mean, what I might be able to say at that point is like, hey, if you hate your batteries, or you really don't care about battery life at all, get these. But like, who's gonna be like, oh, that's me, I love only getting 2 minutes of runtime? Like, because like, the other thing that people don't realize that we've been talking about lately is that if you have motors on your rig that discharge your Tiny Whoop batteries in 2 minutes, you are going to wreck those batteries. And they're $8 per. And so, yeah, and they don't really last all that long anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to do it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to spend your guys' money on something that I can just tell you what the end result of that, you know, testing is going to be. And then I'm not going to burn a couple hours of my time on it. Are you guys cool with that? Hopefully you guys are cool with that. I don't care if you're not. I do care if you're not. If you guys really are desperate for me to test those motors, all you got to do is buy them for me. If you guys send a whole bunch of super chats, if there's like $48 of super chats or something like that tonight, I guess I'll buy them. But like, come on, let's test stuff that there's a better chance of it actually being good. How about that? Minos133 says, what is a good alternative for the RunCam Nano 3? There is none. Because it is end of life in combination with the old school canopy. Yeah, there is none. The RunCam Nano 3 is the lightest camera like ever, and the quality is really decent. So yeah, there just isn't there's the RunCam Nano 3, and then there's every other camera. And yeah, you've now here's what I will say. If you want to run the ball sack canopy, the old school Mobula 6 ball sack canopy, the only other camera that will work with it, and you're going to have to modify the canopy, you're going to have to file this opening a little bit, but I mean, that's easy, is going to be the new Happy Model 2024 camera, which is FX, oh my god, what are they rated? Everything's so small! FX002. Because the FX002 has holes in the corner that you can just barely see there in the corners, which work with the mounting setup in here. And then, like I said, yeah, you're just gonna have to, like, look, the lens is way bigger than the opening there. See, I'm not holding it right, but yeah, see, so you're gonna have to file the opening in the canopy to fit the lens through. But once you do that, it fits fine, and it totally does work. So yeah, there's that. If you guys see RunCam Nano 3s in stock anywhere, please let me know so that I can let you guys know. I would love our community to buy all of the remaining RunCam Nano 3s because they are absolute magic. Kevin Sumner says a big limiter for Rosser's motor testing is he can only usually get stuff that's in stores from Europe. Yeah, that's happened in the past. Kevin Sumner says try that mic on your Mac. I've tried both of these mics through my phone, and they both work totally fine. So, although I haven't tried the tiny little mic, but I will. Good call. Thank you for that. Kevin Summer says, also definitely email HDZero support. Very cool. Yeah, that's weird that my shit is acting weird. Kevin Summer says, you freeze frames on Stoner Rosser. Pick in Discord. Nice. Holy shit. Kevin James with a fucking $50 super chat. Kevin, thank you so much. No description field, but I guess just wanting to support the insanity. Thank you, brother. Damn. Very, very, very kind. Notice says, marketing, in addition to common lies, will also use best case as a baseline, like 4.35 volts. Will your motors turn faster, closer to rated? Ciotti. Yeah, very true. Good point. What voltage was Chris running these motors at for the thrust testing? So he doesn't have it marked up here. Does anybody know? Maybe he talks about it here. I watched this once, but I didn't remember that. Does anybody... Does he mention it? Does he mention what voltage he spins these things up to? Because as we've found in the past, the second that you hammer the throttle, 4.35 volts becomes 4.1, and then very quickly 4.0, and then very quickly 3.9. So if he was doing this testing at 4.35 volts, that's going to potentially change things a little bit, right? Like, that's not realistic. We want, you know, when I did the testing, I maybe went a little bit low on the voltage, but I would rather be too low on the voltage than too high, because going too low on the voltage represents the majority of your battery life. Going too high on the voltage represents the first millisecond as you're rocketing your throttle stick up to full. And then these little tiny batteries immediately discharge down to 4.1, 4.0, 3.9. So yeah, did anybody happen to catch in Chris's video what voltage he was using for the thrust tests? The thrust tests here, and also the motor response tests. Hopefully he was using like 4 volts or 4.1 volts or something like that for this testing, so that we can kind of get the full story, right? If this thrust testing here was done at 4.35 volts, that is going to crank these higher kV motors up to such a high like, it's going to hurt the higher kV motors, because it's going to crank them up to an unrealistically high RPM that they're never actually going to hit in the real world. And that, compounded with the fact that it's a static thrust stand where the quad is not moving to get that incoming air, is going to really cripple the high kV motors. So yeah, did anybody happen to catch the voltage by chance? Elias says, why do the companies basically lie to us in terms of the actual kV? Isn't that basically a proof of their bad manufacturing because they target another kV that they can't achieve? One of two things. It's a great question. One of two things. Either they are putting a kV number on there that represents the amount of power that you actually get, or they are not actually testing the kV of the motors. They are just using some equation that relates to the thickness of the winding material and the number of turns that they are doing around the motor poles. So, yeah. Where this screws us, where it doesn't matter, is when the world that we live in is a world where the happy model motors are the best, period. Today, if you have a tiny whoop on not happy model motors, it's not performing as good as it can in terms of power and efficiency, mainly. And so today, and so it doesn't matter, because you're going to buy a happy model motor. If you want the highest power one, you get the 40,000 kV. If you want the mid power one, you get the 32,000 or the 32,500 kV. If you want the low power one, you get the 28,000 or the 26,000, right? And that's and you're good. More power, higher kV number. So that's where it doesn't matter. Where it does matter is if you want to compare a Betafpv motor to a happy model motor to a T motor, because all three of those different companies are all over the place in terms of their the kV that they stamp on the motor, right? Look at this. Newbie Drone is pretty close, 29,000 on the bell, 28,000 in the testing. VCI doing a pretty good job, 29,000 on the bell, 28,000. Again, down here, VCI 23.5, 23. 27, 27.5. Awesome. Great job, VCI. Happy model, not doing so great. 30,000 kV all the way down at 27. 28,005 down at 25.5, right? So Happy Model is not doing the best job. Betafpv, they're not doing a great job on their 802. It's marked 23. It actually turns 20. Right? So the inconsistent... So it sucks because you might look at a T-motor that's rated 25,000, and in Chris's test, it only turns like 16 or whatever the hell it was. And then, so like, if you're looking at two different 802s, one of them is a T-motor, and they're both marked 25,000, you're screwed. That T-motor is going to be a hot mess. So, yeah, it sucks, but weirdly, luckily, one company makes a significantly better motor than the rest. And when the stamped KV number goes up on their motors, the actual KV goes up too. So it's... Yeah, like, you don't really need to know the actual KV of the motor, right? What good does that do you? It doesn't really accomplish anything until you try to compare it to another manufacturer. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, great question. Chomper says, how you doing? I'm good, brother. How about yourself? Nightwing's in the house. What's up, homie? He says, check the motor wire length. RCinpower has 40 millimeter wires. Ah, good call, brother. Good call. Where's the motor that I just tested? 40 millimeters, eh? You know what's funny is the motor that I just weighed is like an old school prototype motor. It's an 0702 34,000. From forever ago. So this, oh yeah, much shorter motor wire. Look at that. Ooh, okay. That's like this is like a 25 millimeter motor wire. So, all right. So the RCinpower 0702s are not necessarily heavier. Won't know until I bolt them onto a rig, right? But they're still incredibly inefficient, which I don't love, of course, but it's not, you know, the motors being heavy and inefficient is a deal breaker. Like, I'm not even willing to spend any time testing them, any time or any money testing them. Just them being inefficient, much more realistic. I'm going to think about it. Timmons says, the overheating core temp rig you were flying was the analog with 2G4 on 803 27,000s even after changing the filtering. That is hysterical because what a beautiful segue. Next thing is we're going to take a look at these two Jungle Gym Bashers with VCI motors. 0703, 0803, 27,000s. These are the same motors. These 0803 motors that were causing the core temperature rig warning were on this. They were on this AIO. They're now on this X12 AIO, and they're completely fine on the X12. Oh, yes. Okay. This makes total sense. In our spreadsheeting, we found that with these big boy motors that really hammer the ESC hard, when I put these motors onto the X12 with the 12 amp FETs, they turned higher KV. When I had them on the 2G4, it wasn't this 2G4, it was another 2G4. Remember, they were overheating the FETs. I would go full throttle, and these 5 amp FETs would overheat, and I would see like 29,000 RPM, and then it would immediately drop down to like 26,000 RPM. So the problem is the 5 amp FETs can't deal with the heat that these big power motors are producing. That makes total sense. Yeah, those same motors that were overheating the 2G4 do not overheat the X12, which has 12 amp FETs on it. So once we get up into these big gnarly motors, yeah, the X12 or any AIO with higher than 5 amp FETs is going to become a little bit important, a little bit more important. Again, that testing that I was doing was me holding the rig. This was a loaded thrust stand style test. Once it's up in the air, the motors have less work to do. But these motors on this 2G4 in the air flying around was still having the core temperature warning. So it was still hitting this 5 amp AIO too hard. That's awesome. Thank you, Timmons, for that reminder. That is really important shit. The reason why I have not had that same experience with 1002s, even 1102s, is, we can probably see it in the spreadsheet. Let's take a look. Because I have run RCinpower 1002 22,000s on 2G4s, and they're completely fine. I've also run these Betafpv 1102 22,000s on 2G4s, and they're completely fine. And the reason is in this column. Nope, it's more in this column. And it's right here. It's the amount of RPM that they're able to turn. These are only 22,000 kV motors, and so they can only spin up on a 1.6 inch 10 pitch biblade to 52,000 RPM. Look at this RPM that the VCI motor turns. This VCI motor is way, and you're about to see this in a minute when we look at some flight footage, this is making tons of power. And so none of these other motors, even this is an 802 motor here at 52,000. This is basically the limit. These motors are the limit of the 2G4 and or any 5 amp AIO would be my guess. Once we get up to this power level here, now we've exceeded what a 5 amp 2G4, I have to say what the 2G4 can handle, but look, all these AIOs, the AIOs that say that they're 5 amp, they're all using the same 5 amp FETs, I'm 99% sure of. I haven't actually checked, but I bet you they are. And so that's pretty cool. That is really, really, really cool stuff. Man, look at the difference on the 1210 propeller. The VCI motor got all the way up to 70,000 RPM, and then these other guys are still down here at 64,000. And then yeah, look at these 0702s, really just railing. That's, you know what's interesting here too is that the VCI 0803 here at 70,000 RPM, also the Happy Model 802 33,000s and the 30,000s are getting up to 70,000, but we don't really run these motors on this 1210 propeller. But I think I have run these. Yeah, I have. I definitely have. And I've run these Happy Model 802 33,000s on a 2G4 with even more draggy than these 1210 propellers, but nowhere near as draggy as the bigger 1610 props. Once we put these big nasty motors onto a big nasty prop, that's when they start to overheat the 5 amp FETs on the 2G4. Really cool stuff there. Again, thank you for that reminder, Timmons. All right. I'm gonna hold off on the chat comments because I want to dive into some of this flying that I did today on these VCI rigs. So first and foremost, I want to give you the 0803 27,000 kV rig on 1610, not 1610, 1.6 inch HQ ultralight biblades. Let me look those up. HQ, I need to know what the pitch is. 1.6 inch biblade ultralight. I need to know what the hell the pitch is. 1.2. Okay, so they're 1612. HQ 1612 ultralight biblades. Can we get a little volume here? All right, so I'm going to talk through it. So this is it. Hold on. I'm going to give you full audio for me talking through because it sounds pretty decent with the internal mic. black hole, and there.
Wow, that is some serious power. I've never had to thrust inverted here to keep it from hitting the trees. This is really fun for an outdoor 75mm rig. Here to keep it from hitting the trees. This is really fun for an outdoor 75mm rig. This weird ESC problem is because this AIO is very old. This flies great, man. This might be the motor for like a really, I think it is. This is the motor for a super lively outdoor-ish 75. And this is really fun. I flew a toothpick a bunch yesterday and forgot about one of my least favorite things about toothpicks, which is that when you fly them outside and you crash them, you can't turtle mode. Wow, look at that. Look at that dive, man. Holy shit. This is nuts. Yeah, this is great. This is great for flying outside. These motors are awesome for this. I think these are my favorites. The only hesitation that I'm going to have about these motors is the 1mm motor shaft. That motor shaft is just not... Look, for an outdoor 75, we really want a 1.5mm motor shaft, even though I said I wasn't going to shoot tiny little gaps. It's the end of the battery, so what the hell. Throttle resolution is fine. Yeah, this is awesome. If this motor came with a 1.5mm motor shaft, it would be game over. Ah! It's okay. I'll go get it.
Alright, so there you go. Well, hold on, let's do here. So there you go. The rest of that is me. I know that's a little bit quiet, but so that is it outside. Here it is inside the house. This is crazy inside the house. Again, I'm just gonna let it play. Turn your volume back up. I'll give you guys the audio from this. Check this out. This is ridiculous.
That was all. All right, here we go. 0802.8 VCI motors, basically Mobula 7 1S ELRS. Oh, come on, man. Oh, come on, man. Really? This AIO is on its way to death. There it goes. Come on now. There it is. Alright, let's get an RPM. These make obviously more power, but they are heavier. I didn't get the weights on these two rigs, but I will. Oh shit, that's not gone well. This is why you don't fly 75mm rigs in the house, my friends. Where did he even hit the... Yeah, okay, so... There we go, we got it. This is why you don't fly... I want to be able to hear KV. Jesus. Yeah, okay, so... There we go, we got it. Oh! All that thrust and all that weight. Yeah, okay, so other than this thing being so heavy, the response time and the power of these motors actually feels much more like a 65. But we've got all this speed, which is great for outside, but boy, is this a handful in here. And at this weight, your personal belongings are gonna potentially take a beating, so... Whoa! Jeez! Yeah, this is... oh boy. No, no, no. Don't. Yeah, this AIO is on its way out. This is wild. Yeah, I mean... If you don't like your personal belongings, then sure, build this for outside and fly it inside and... Oh my god, yo! This is ballistic. This is like how on it you have to be for the 702 36,000, 40,000 kV, 65 millimeter builds. Things happen very fast. Oh boy. Oh, that was a hard hit. That was a really hard hit. Even Teddy agrees. Hit. Things happen very fast. Oh boy. Oh! Oh, that was a hard hit. That was a really hard hit. Even Teddy agrees. On. Two. Yeah, I ran that battery off.
All right, hold on. And now here's the 0703 rig. Just to wrap this all the way up, I just want to show you the RPM and the flight characteristics real quick. 703. Oh no, that ain't it. 703, much lower kV, 23,500 kV. Still flies great though. Check it out in the house. Where's the audio?
kV on the fully charged first. VCI 703. Two identical rigs. Oh, that's the meme tune. I forgot to turn off the meme tune. 40,000 RPM. Hold on, let me turn the meme tune off. Rate profile 1. There we go. $40,000 kV on the fully charged battery. Oh shit! Oh god! Don't go in the sink! Ah. Oh. That was ridiculous. Oh jeez. 75 millimeter rigs are tough in the house. Much less response time than a 65, and so there's a...
All right, so there you go. Now check this out though. Here's a meme rate profile. You guys should put rate profile. I'll show you how to do it in a minute. Rate profile number 2 or number 3 should be a meme rate profile. Here, hold on, let me show you. Oh, hold on. That ain't the one. That ain't the one. There's one where I go outside. That's the one I want to show you. Come on! Where is it? 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 No, that's not it. We're going to talk more about the 2 VCI motored rigs in a minute. Where is it? Why do I just keep... Here it is. Here it is. Check this out. 31. Meme rates. Meme rates, friends. Here you go. Hook yourself up with some meme rates. You will not believe it. Where's the button? What's up? All right, apparently I'm not talking. I thought maybe I'd be talking through it, but yeah, so these are meme rates. This is the maximum that the look at that shit. The maximum rotational rate. This is so cool line of sight. If you've never done this, you will not believe how fast these fucking things can rotate. This is 2,000 degrees a second. And like in the goggles, like it's just impossible. Like you just, but in line of sight, it's absolutely hysterical. I made, it's also triggering crash prevention, but then the crash prevention is like freaking out because the rates are so aggressive. But yeah, you should have meme rates just on a rate profile so that like if you want to impress your friends, you can if you want to impress your friends' line of sight, this is what you can do. It's absolutely hysterical. That's me trying to like actually fly with it, because I do have a bunch of expo, but like it makes the quad so unhappy to spin that fast. Meme rates, yo. It's actually super easy. You turn the expo up. You just go to your actual rates. Go to the max the rotational column and just do 9999999, and it'll max out at 2,000. And then go to your expo and go 9999999. It'll max out at 1.0. You need the expo, otherwise it's completely unflyable. And then for the center stick sensitivity, run it at like 100. That's like a good number, and that'll get you something like, see how I can actually fly this. I've done this in the past, but I didn't add so much expo, or it's funny, you have to increase the center sensitivity, and then you have to increase the shit out of the expo, which kind of do the opposite things, but it's because the end of the yeah, there you go. It's because the end of the rate profile curve is going so violently up. You need the expo to flatten the shit out of the middle so that you have some chance of flying it, and then you need to increase the center sensitivity because otherwise the middle will be too low and it'll be too soft. But so yeah, 100 center stick sensitivity, 2,000 maximum velocity, 1.0 expo. Put that on rate profile 3, and then go line of sight. Look at this line of sight. Hold on. I have my iCloud open. Well, there's little Teddy Spaghetti. Here's Teddy a year ago. Here's how things started. Where the hell is it? Where is it? Damn you! Oh my god, what? Where's the first picture I took of the goddamn dog? It's in here. Is that really it? Was that it? No. That wasn't it. Here it is. Here it is. It's right here. There it is. That how things started with Tedward Spaghettward, and how things are going now. Where the hell is it? How things are going now. There he is. He looks so much fatter. It's unbelievable. Why is this not updating? iCloud, what are you getting at here? Why is there not the stuff from today? Oh, come on, man. I have all this. Hang on, really quickly. Let me just hold up. Is it because? No. It should be in here. What the hell, man? What? Is photos not sync now? Why did it stop syncing? All right. So I'll be here in a second. Sync it up, homie. Sync. Why did it like stop syncing yesterday? I guess maybe I guess maybe it syncs at night or something like that. You got to see it. You know what? I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you. You go do it. I swear to God, it's worth it. I swear to you, it is worth it. You can do it in the OSD. You don't have to plug into Betaflight to do it. But make sure you do it on another rate profile, because you're going to want to leave it, because you're going to want to show your friends. But yeah, do it. You can do it on any quad that you've got. Actual rates, 100 center stick sensitivity, 2,000 maximum rotation, 1.0 expo. It'll be somewhat flyable, but when you get to the stick ends, y'all doesn't really matter. Y'all, it just drives upwards and it doesn't really spin that fast. It's pitch and roll. I will not spoil the line of sight surprise. You have to do it line of sight though. You will not fucking believe it. It is hysterical. And the bigger the rig, the more ridiculous the sound that it makes. And I will leave it at that. You got to go do it. I'm telling you. Meme rate profile all day long. Get you some. All right. That's what I wanted to talk about here. We talked about the VCI motors. I'm super impressed by the 0803s. You guys got to see the flight performance. The runtime is really not that bad either. But X12, my friends, I touched on it in there. 1mm motor shaft. I've flown these two a little bit. I'm gonna keep flying these, especially this one because it's really fun. Yeah, the much safer choice for a jungle gym basher is the iGao motors. The iGao 0802 27,000 kV motors with the 1.5mm motor shaft. Awesome, absolutely amazing. They are not in stock right now, though. So if you want to build a jungle gym basher today, man, these VCIs are good. 0802 2.8, 27,000 kV. Maybe buy 2 sets because you are going to bend up these 1mm motor shafts at some point. But ooh, you are going to get some awesome flight characteristics. It flies really, really, really good. These VCI 0703 23,500s are also really, really good. I'm super impressed by these. If I take a look at my little motor testing setup here, what did they turn? Yeah, so the that's cool. They are very comparable to the iGao motors. So this is the iGao motors making 49,000 RPM on the 1.6-inch biblade. And then here's the VCI 0703 23,500s making 49,500. So yeah, these basically make the same power as those 0802 27,000s, but they're lighter weight, but they also only have a 1mm motor shaft. So they're lighter weight, which is going to make it the whole thing crash better, which is great, but 1mm motor shaft. So today we've got like 3 really, really good motors that we're talking about for jungle gym bashers. The 0802 2.8s, which are the horsepower kings. These 0703s, which are kind of like the lightweight kings. And then the iGao motor, which we've talked tons about. 0802 27,000 RPM, 1.5mm motor shaft. Awesome. Or you can do the Frankenstein shit, find a Happy Model motor that's 27,000 kV or 30,000 kV, take that stator, buy the Happy Model RS 0802, take that bell off, and now you've got an even better motor, to be honest, than the iGao motors, because that RS 0802 bell is a little bit lighter weight than the onesie bell, and it's still 1.5mm motor shaft. So yeah, a lot of different options for you, but a lot of really, really, really good options. And again, this jungle gym basher, which is just a Mobula 7 1S, nothing crazy with BT 2.0 added to it. This thing with these 0803 motors is a fucking monster. This is nuts outside. And inside. The response time of this thing is finally like there. First time ever. I've put a motor on a 75mm rig and it didn't feel fat and sloppy and slow. Like all these other motors, like, yeah, they're okay and it's flyable, but like you compare it to a lightweight 65mm rig with 32,000, 36,000, 40,000 kV motors, and there's no comparison in terms of crispness and flight feel and the ability to handle prop wash and the acceleration, like that really quick acceleration that you get, which helps you get out of like sticky situations, right? Like you're about to crash and you need a big burst of power right fucking now. That's what the 75mm rigs have not had until these motors. These motors finally have it. And it makes it feel nuts, right? Like you saw me flying around the house. It's crazy. it's not meant for in the house. The 65 mil rigs are way better in that scenario because they're so much lighter. This is an outdoor monster. Really cool. Great job, VCI. Thanks for making 0803s. If I'm honest, it's less a VCI makes a good... VCI makes great motors, but this is less VCI making an amazing motor and more 0803 stator sizes. Awesome. More in the future on that. Trying to find where I'm at in chat. Tiny Shark FPV says, using the old Mobula canopy doesn't really give much protection for the what? Using the old Mobula canopy doesn't give much protection for the Walksnail canopy. For the Walksnail camera, Tiny Shark meant to type. Have you tried other canopies or maybe 3D printed ones? The only other canopy that will work with the Walksnail light camera is the Betafpv canopy, which I have, but I've never tried it because I've not had a single issue with the old school Mobula 6 canopy. I thought for sure that I would. I thought for sure that this lens hanging out all snuffleupagus-y would just get annihilated. But I have smashed the living hell out of these Walksnail rigs, and I've yet to have a single issue. On one of them, there are like little marks from smashing this into all the metal at Rampage in Micro Mayhem, but the lens is completely fine. The Betafpv canopy will protect the camera better for sure, but it's heavier. And so, yeah, I've had totally fine luck with the Mobula 6 canopy. I'm sure that there are some 3D printed options. I haven't dove into them because I've had such good luck with the Mobula 6 canopy. Kevin Sumner says, I found the Nanohawk labeled ones at Wrecked and Getfpv the other night. Sold out elsewhere in the U.S., like 20 to 30 stores. I think that's what we're going to have. I think that's about it. Yeah, Nanohawk labeled RunCam Nano 3s. I mean, yep. Good looking out. So Wrecked as well. That's good to know. Gert Jan X says, what do you think about the Rushtank Tiny VTX? By the way, is it normal that it measures close to a short between positive and negative? What? Yes, it's still working. Just wondering. How do you know that it measures close to a short? I don't understand that. Rushtank Tiny VTX. I don't remember which one that is. Hold on. Let's look it up. Let's move this over here. And which one is that? Oh, that little guy. There is a really weird thing about this VTX where it's stuck in pit mode. And the only documentation in the whole of the internet, last time I looked it up, on how to fix that was on Rushtank's Facebook page in a Facebook post from like years ago. And the second or third time that bit me in the ass, I said, you know what? Fuck this VTX for life. Maybe they've fixed that in the VTX by now, but I doubt it. Yeah, so like out of the box, it's locked in pit mode, if I remember correctly, and it's really weird to get it out of there. If they've fixed that, it's probably totally fine, but yeah, I don't know. I haven't run one in a long time. It's heavier than the TBS Pro 32 Nano, and it's a little bit bigger. And I don't remember it performing significantly better, and with that weird problem, it was just like, the hell with it. So if they've fixed that, great. It's probably totally fine, but yeah. Parkour guy says, I have a buddy trying to get into FPV on a budget. I'm sending him a drone, and he got a pocket. Transmitter, the pocket transmitter. What's the cheapest way to get an analog signal, whether it be on a screen or goggles? Try to convince him that if he buys a set of used Fat Sharks, HD3s, for example, when he goes to sell them, he will be able to sell them for exactly what he's paying for them. So that's the route that you want to go to. If he buys a set of box goggles and saves money now, when he eventually gets rid of them, and he will get rid of them because they're box goggles, or he will quit FPV, he will not get shit for them. So the smart decision is to buy used Fat Sharks with a module, and then in the grand scheme of things, either he will keep them for the long run, and he won't have to buy box goggles and then end up buying something else, or he will quit and be able to get his money out of them. I wish that someone had told me that, because I wasted $90-some on a set of Ishin box goggles that sucked. And then when I went to sell them, I could only get like $20 for them. So yeah, I wish that somebody had told me that initially. That's the smartest way to do it. I don't know any of the box goggles, so I don't know which box goggles to recommend. But there's tons of reviews here on YouTube. Minos133 says, I bought a Mobula 6 ELRS race. It came with a Caddx Ant and an HDZero canopy. Strange combination. That is a very strange combination. That's weird, man. Did you buy that new or used? If you bought that new, that's weird. Chomper says, check your PayPal. Oh, shit. Thank you in advance, homie. Damn! Chomper with a $50 PayPal. Thank you so much, homie. He says, thanks for the awesome streams. You are certainly welcome. It's beautiful bastards like you and all these other people hanging out and supporting me that allow me to do this, and that's pretty cool. Thank you, dude. Wow, very, very, very generous. Parkour guy says, setting meme rates right now, LMAO. Do it. Notice says hard to fly. I want to see some people, I want to see someone in the chat typing full capitals LOL by the end of this stream. I just did the meme tune. Holy shit, line of sight, it's ridiculous. You should all be typing that before the end of the stream, because you'll see. You'll see. Parkour guy says, would you ever get a cat? I am actually a cat person. I am not a dog person. Teddy is a lot. Teddy is hysterical and adorable. But he is an awful lot. And sometimes, like, bad cats, they can be a lot, but they're a lot in a totally different kind of way. They're not nearly as much. Yeah, nothing against Teddy. Like, he's funny. But yeah, this creature over here, this gremlin-looking son of a bitch, is like, yeah, there is more of a time commitment from him and from dogs in general than with cats, and I'm not used to that at all. I've had cats all my life, and yeah, I absolutely love them. I think that they are to have a wolf in the house is super interesting. To have a miniature lion, a miniature tiger, a miniature bobcat in the house is fascinating to me. Like the way that they move, like the smoothness that they have, the lightness, like the power to weight ratio that they have, right, is, oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It is so cool. The problem is I am extremely, in my mid-20s, I developed a horrible allergy to cats and to dogs. Teddy is a miniature schnauzer and very similar to poodles. They have hair, not fur. And dogs with hair are like humans with hair. And I'm not allergic to hair. I'm allergic to fur and the dander that hangs out in fur. So Teddy's great because I can scratch Teddy and then scratch my face and I don't break out into hives and have a 3-hour-long allergy attack. Cats, when I have, ever since my mid-20s, when I have cats, and I've had a few, I have to scratch the cat with my left hand and touch my face with my right hand. And I got really good at that. And I also got good at like scratching the cat and then immediately washing my hands. So it is livable, but the cat dander does get on like all your shit, and it is hard. Like my allergies are way better with Teddy in the house, and being in a house that has never had a cat in it, basically, than when I was in the apartment with originally Beta and then Harry. So yeah, it's super sad, man. It is super sad. When I meet cats outside or in stores or at other people's houses, I'm like, oh, I love you so much, and I'm going to scratch you right now with my left hand at an arm's reach and then hold my breath and go wash my hands. But yeah, I am firmly a cat guy rather than a dog guy. Brandon's Baked Bean says, LOL, the sound. Did you do it? Oh, no, I think it was the audio on the stream. Who will be the first one to do the meme rates and come into the chat? Parkour, we got talked about that. Chomper says, I got a jet. There's a night spot asking to be ripped. Nice. Hopefully everybody has a good time. See you all later. Tiny Shark says, is the 5 amp Betafpv Cross F4 good for the Walksnail 75mm 2S? No, it will explode. That is a 1S only AIO. The AIO that I think that you want is the one that I've been running, because you're going to run into all the same packaging issues that I did. Unfortunately, this AIO is out of stock everywhere other than Betafpv. And the order that I put in with Betafpv for it a week and a half ago, they haven't even shipped it yet. So, kind of frustrated. You can get the old school version of this AIO, but the current V3 version of this AIO that you probably do want is sold out everywhere. Where is it? It might be this one. It's this one, isn't it? It's this one. Yeah, Betafpv F. Nope. That's 1S. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Betafpv F4. I think they do kind of call it 1S, but it absolutely works with 2S. 12 amp. This is what you're looking for. Betafpv F4 12 amp. And then this is what you want. The V3 serial ELRS HD only, no OSD chip. Technically, you can get this version 2.2, but I haven't tested it. The version 3, as long as you're not an idiot and pull up really hard on the pads and rip them off, is the way to go. This thing took a bunch of abuse before 2 pads that I needed broke off. One of them broke off in my hands when I was doing something dumb. The other one broke off because I put it into a frame that I shouldn't have put it in. So yeah, that's what you want. This is the one that you want. The 2S batteries sit really high in the battery tray, and so you can't have a USB port sticking down, I don't think. And so on this AIO, the version 3 of this AIO, and the version 2.2, they use this JST port, and then they give you a little adapter to USB. And so you don't have that USB port sticking straight down on the bottom. So yeah, that's the AIO that you want, in my opinion. McConnell Studios is in the house. What's up, homie? It's been far too long, my friend. If you guys don't follow McConnell Studios on Instagram, you are missing out, man. He does the coolest artwork. Like Burning Man-esque amazing artwork. It's really, really cool. Follow them on Instagram. You will not be... You can thank me later, basically. Parkour Guy says, yeah, I made the mistake of buying Fat Shark box goggles and sold them losing money. Parkour Guy also says, this is extremely interesting. Did you just become allergic one day? My mom was allergic, so now I moved out. Just got my first cat. Definitely is fascinating. No, my allergies came from living within a couple of 100 yards of a highway that has diesel trucks. People that live within a couple of 100 yards, I think it is, of major highways where diesel trucks spew diesel fumes are 600% more likely to develop allergies. And that's what happened to me. For the first time ever in my life, I lived in an apartment that was like 200 yards from a major highway that diesel trucks were bombing up and down 24 hours a day. And all of a sudden I became allergic to cats and all kinds of other shit. I ended up going through a couple of years of immunotherapy, which is where they do a bunch of tests on you to figure out all the things that you're most allergic to, and then they put all of those things into a little vial, and you get shots in one, or in my case, both arms, because I was allergic to so many things. once a week, every single week. And they're just giving you a tiny little bit of all these things that you're allergic to. And then they monitor you for a half an hour to make sure you don't die. And they just up it little by little by little by little over years. And that did make the situation a little bit better. But what made the situation a lot better was moving away from that apartment complex and living away from major highways. And that helped a ton. But the allergy to cats has never gone away, unfortunately. But I didn't have it when I was a kid. I had lots of cats in our family growing up as a kid that I was never allergic to. So, yeah, very weird. But some of the research that I did way back when, this was back in my 20s, literally said, like, you will develop allergies that you did not have, and then you will have those allergies. Apparently, your allergies change every 7 years. I have not found that to be the case with the feline allergy that I developed. But, yeah. If you can help it, do not live right next to a major highway. No. Bad dog. See? See what I mean? See what I mean? You know who doesn't do this? Cats. Cats don't do this. They just lay there. And they're cool. And they're like, there's a guy out front. He looks alright. I won't scream at him. Here's a little bit of drift footage. I gotta go look. I gotta go find out what the fuck he's screaming about. Why? There better be a package. All right. Jesus, hell balls. Hey, look at that. One perfect flight file. That's the amount of runtime that I get with the ball sack canopy setup. I can get like 2 minutes and 20 or so. I'm running the batteries down a little bit more so they don't bounce all the way back to 3.8. They bounce back to 3.7, and I can get 2 minutes and 20. It's pretty good. Especially considering it's moving the whole time, changing directions, blah 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 blah. A parkour guy says, I consider that suable for emotional damage, not being able to pet random animals. LMAO. All right, I'm caught up on Chad. We talked about these, and you've seen some of the flight footage there. the big item on the stream tonight that we'll do for 7 whole minutes is RC. Now we'll do it. I'll run a little bit long because Maggie's still out anyway. So yeah, I'm going to do another HD RC drift edit, and I got started on it already. I'm gonna get copyright dinged, which is completely fine. But oh wait, no, hold on. I move these and then. Yeah, so it's going to be... Nope, it's not that one first. I didn't like how this ended up. So I want to move that one back and that one back. Yeah, so here's how it's going to kind of start. Wait, what is this here? Hold on, let me just give you guys a little bit of a feel. So yeah, I brought my other DSLR and I shot some 60 frame a second man. My DSLRs are so old that the highest quality I can get with 60 frames a second is 720p, but it's DSLR 720p, which looks really good. Like for example, what you're seeing right now is basically DSLR 720p. And this looks way better than like any other 720p you've ever seen, right? A great big lens and a really good quality sensor at a lower number of pixels looks better than a tiny little lens and a tiny little sensor up at like 4K, right? This is actually, you're looking at 1080 right now, but when I did these streams in 720, they looked exactly like this. This is what a good lens and sensor looks like. And so, yeah, this footage at 720p looks way better than the 1080p Walksnail footage, right? Because it's on a DSLR with a good sensor, good glass in front of it, blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, I just did some really quick and dirty, like handheld 60 frame a second jib jabs here. And we jibbin' and we jabbin'. And so that's going to stop there, and then we're going to put, I just want to give you guys a little bit of a feel here. Yeah, no, we're going to get rid of that. And then I'm probably going to use this. Yeah. All right, so we'll drop this in here, and then yeah, just give you a quick little jim jam to get shit started. Yep, that's where I want that to land. And I can probably cut the beginning of this off. Yeah, just chop the beginning of this off a little bit. Okay, so this is pretty much where we're going to be. And then this is going to pull in the... Oh, I would like to use this, though. But... that's okay. Hold on. Let me grab one quick flight file and just drop it in to show what the hit is going to kind of feel like. Okay, this will work. Something like this. Chop that. All right, so this is basically how it's going to... Hold on, let me see real quick. Yeah. This is kind of how it's going to lay in here with the music. So is that all resized? That's all resized. All right, yeah. So this is here you guys go. And we want this way you can see the song and everything. Black hole, and then I need to go up into the Premiere settings and audio hardware. Okay, this should be good. Hold on, let me just check it real quick. Actually, hold on. That's not quite there. That ain't quite right yet. Super quick, like there's a nice little drop in here. We'll pick it up right here. And then I think it's actually going to be this. I think I love doing this when the music is slow and chill. I will run everything in half frame rate as long as the footage is in 60 frames, which apparently this isn't. Why is this not in 60? No, it is 60 frames because I just slowed it down 50%, and look, we've still got bang, 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 bang. We've still got 60 frames. Cool. All right, yeah. So check this out. This is what it'll actually be like, I think, for the beginning. I changed this first clip, but still. Yeah, I did that. That's my first time seeing it too. I was doing that as much for me as you guys. I'm kind of digging that already. And then so the song picks up a little bit, and when the song picks up, we will get out of 50% speed, and we will go to regular, and so that'll be somewhere around here, I would guess. Let me see. Where does the song get all angry? Yeah, here it is. So that's not really lined up right. So let's try doing something like that. Yeah, so it'll go in a little bit here. Do I not have any chasing? Well, hold on. I can just do this. Up here. Let's see how it kind of sits in there. Yeah, okay. So here, this is what it'll be like when the song gets a little bit angrier. Black hole. There we go. Nope, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? Cool, right? Kind of an old school song. Yeah, I don't know. My method with song choice is I start organizing the footage and just doing all the shit associated with getting an edit started, and I put Spotify on random with just everything, and yeah, eventually a song will come on that kind of matches the feeling of what I'm watching in the flight footage, and I'll usually like just kind of pick that one, set it aside, and keep sort of paying attention. Yeah, somebody just mentioned Bot is not going to be streaming on every Friday night anymore. Is he? Oh, he is streaming now. Go get Bot Grinder. He just started 2 minutes ago. Tell him Ciotti sent you. Final weekly live stream. Hey, I'm gonna get to work on this edit. We covered a ton of shit. I showed you where the edit's going. I showed you the beginning of it. Sorry I didn't do more on the edit, but go watch Bot. Final weekly live stream. He said that he's gonna do monthlies. He's gonna do like a recap live stream at the end of the month. But yeah, go say hi. He's got 156 people in there. My God, that's awesome. Yeah, go hang out with Bot Grinder, my friends. I'm gonna work on this edit, and I work on these edits so much faster when I'm not having to talk through live stream. So go watch Bot. I'm gonna work on this edit a bunch, and we'll hang out again on Sunday at 3 o'clock. Thanks for hanging out, friends. We covered a lot of ground tonight. I hope you enjoyed. I'm caught up on chat. CMYK, what's up? I'll see you guys over on Bot stream. Love you. Bye. I'm not ready. Here's a little more of the flying. From the drift car place. Love you guys. Bye. Now I'm ready.